Adesso sta. Adesso
Questo è bello.
qui uno mi sei giocato.
Non è so essere
Io apposta.
so poco buonissimo.
Sei, cioè, tu hai lo stesso cosa
I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
No?
Is this going to be recorded?
Sure.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are here.
starting just shooting when you kind of start, and then you will go.
Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't
So I
show
done this.
any fear. I've been flying from
You
town
want
to
this one?
town, from London to Taiwan.
Because actually you can use yours. Because I'm just using this as well. So you just put this. That's right. This is it. Instead of naming us Sun, his name is Anicorn. Can help me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London
Sesuai dalam election.
I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky.
positively.
Smell, comedic.
Yeah, really,
Wow.
you know,
It's just really
I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe
yeah.
trying to protect your
good.
soul. I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will heroes feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are
Um, great. Um, good, good. It's like this, you know. No, but they are really good. Yeah. Really. Yes. Please. To God. Come on, see, let's talk next week. Goodness. Yeah. Good enough.
Yeah.
Really? Hmm. Yes, that's good. All right. Ah, you shit, surprise.
Yeah, that's why I think you should close that. Oh, hmm? Oh, it's good. Ah, each rice. Yeah, you should close that. Oh, no, 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 no. The shooting sucks because you need to flag up. It's not fun. That's all that. Yes. Man, you. It's a good. This shooting sucks. Can you move the community? And you just put it right in front. It's fine. Let's over. Oh, fine. It's keep off. Long. And the benefits. Oh. Huh? You used to face inside. Yes. Actually, it does the same. This one. Oh, then you put it down. You still the brush. Yes. Yes. It's the same brush. And uh, what is it? I'm thinking I want to be the same as video. I'm thinking of it. It's businesses. Movie video you want and not confident that we in the phone for the good school one of the share. That's what I say Islam. I say the most good in life. better work for the exhibition compound, better work for the cultural craft, British council and art, or what do you want to do? The art. Ah, that's process process okay, I think just put a woman to this. There's anyone with he and little of his town. That's what I think at least. I say we got about big select his town and we let that's good. But that's process who's talking? For delay, yes, you need it's giving me that abuse. Okay, so welcome to CCA Open Lab number 5. So today we have Ms. Ng Yi presenting the work titled Imagining Laminate
Liminality through sound and found matter. So this Open Lab number 5 promises to be an insightful journey into sound-based practices and critical discussions on ecological and technological interrelations. So through a compelling exploration of liminality through the immersive lens of sound and found matter, the session features Niki, a Kuala Lumpur-based designer and sound artist known for her innovative approach to human and non-human objects. So through her recent work, including sound walking, still recording, and algorithmic composition, he advances the concept of potential sensitivities in sound art, and the presentation will showcase the latest work, Tangible Resonance, made in 2024. So this work highlights her insight into sorry about that. So Iki advances the concept of potential sensibilities in sound art practices, and her presentation will showcase her latest artwork, Tangible Resonance, made in 2024. So it will highlight the insights into the delicate boundaries and interactions between human and non-human entities. And today, the Open Lab offer a unique opportunity to engage with experimental sound, arts, and intersecting ecological and technological themes. All right, so now I'll invite Iki here to present your work. So let's all welcome Iki.
My name is Iki. So today I will talk about mostly my work the project that I produced during my residency in Langkawi last November. Okay, so this is my title, Imagining Liminality Through Sound and Form Matter. So this is the title of my work called Tangible Resonance. So it was a sound installation that I did for SUNY residency in Kuala Langkawi. So so maybe I will talk a little bit about the residency itself. So the residency has two phases. So the first phase is called Night Pulau Tunggana. So this is the first phase where we were assigned to Langkawi and we would go to do some field trip. Okay, so it's a 2-week art residency program involving 11 contemporary Malaysian artists representing diverse artistic practice. So it is initiated by Balai Seni Negara, and we were happy. The first phase was held from 9 to 21st September. So we were there for a field trip, which is the first phase of our residency. So these are the places that we went to. So this Hospital Lama Langkawi is where the exhibition is is took place. So this is where the exhibition took place, and then we also went to some tourist attraction such as Pasir Dayang Bunting, and also like waterfalls and also beach to experience the nature landscape, as well as also like we also inform culturally and also about the myths that were used for more understanding on the island. Okay, one of the myths that is always talked about, like commonly known, is called Makamasuri, of course. So always it's like we were there to also experience what it is really like to live in island that is full of pathologies, and also like that is very different from what we always experience in the city life that we have in Delft. So yeah, so that is mostly about the residency. So I actually brought the book as well. So here are some publications that we can pass around to you if you want to have a look. So mostly is theme is translating nature and also like to understand the place in terms of its history, culture, and sustainability. So we went to Langkawi with the thought of it is a tourist attraction, but what is different from what we expected was what we experienced when we stepped our foot on Langkawi. Alright, so let me go back to slides. Okay, so the first word that we come across is called liminality, or in other words, it's called liminal space. Okay, so in general, liminal space here means the betweenness, the uncertainties, and also the yet to be defined. So it's general explanation on what is liminality. It's even it's not limited to just the space. It's not just the time. It's also like the experience, and also like my personal understanding of liminality is the disjuncture between the presumed image of Langkawi as a touristy island versus the experience of being in the rooms, and as well as the abandoned sites. I think part of us before we start foot on Langkawi is that we always have this image of what Langkawi is a tourist attraction which full of um, tiny islands and also like mythologies. Everything seems to be very perfect, very beautiful, and very well crafted. But the feeling of liminal here is that because when we start on it, it's totally different from what we expected. All right, there's also like a lot of abandoned sites in Langkawi, which is also why liminal come to the image, come to the space. So like because the being of liminal means that here is where there's a period where Langkawi is neither being overdeveloped or underdeveloped. So and also like the site that we were given to is um, okay, so this images at the left side is the site that we were given to. So this is called Hospital Number Hua. Alright. So this site, in my opinion, really represents the idea of liminal space because it was a hospital. It was an old hospital, but then because it is being abandoned and there is no It's not serving any purpose. In this case, it's not serving any purpose as a functional site for patients, for hospital, for treating patients. Okay, so this is like a very physical representation of what is liminality, and also like in a macro lens, it shows what is going on in Langkawi from a bigger picture. Okay, so Langkawi might be in this state where the development side doesn't know what they would do or what they should do with this kind of abandoned space. So this is just one of the abandoned space. There's also another abandoned space. Um, there's an abandoned museum, art museum. I forgot about the name of the artist, but it is near um, the Skull Island of Langkawi, right? And also, like when we travel across Langkawi, we also see like there are other abandoned places, like there are abandoned hotels, um, abandoned zoo, abandoned theme park. So this is really like a very core representation of liminality in Langkawi. Okay, and also like you can see there are graffitis over the walls of the hospital. So the purpose here is that they repurpose this space for annual graffiti art event. The purpose of it is also to make this space to be more active and also more attractive to tourists as well as the local community. Okay, and of course, this is another picture. The right side is where we always what we have and what we thought what Naga would be. Okay, this very beautiful, very nature, surrounded by nature kind of view of Langkawi. So this is my perspective of how liminal space or liminality is presented physically. Okay, so this is the production timeline. So I would go through briefly. So first is what we do here, which the core idea is that we will do a psychogeographic mapping. Okay, and here are how my ideas were executed. And lastly is the exhibition. Okay, so the first thing that we do is called Nine Pulau Terang Batak, which is the first phase. So what we do is field research and also psychogeographic mapping. So let me open the picture here. Okay, so this is a picture of what we did for psychogeographic mapping. Okay, so from here is the site that we will experience. Okay, so this is a picture, and this is where we enter from the hospital. So I don't really have much pictures here to show, but we sort of did a psychogeographic mapping in a group. Okay, so this is where we enter, and then we will go through here to map out what we feel about the space. Okay, so this is like a discussion after the field research. Okay, so there are two sides of the hospital site. Okay, first site is where we would enter the hospital, which is full of graffitis, very, I would say, visually noisy and also like very plastic. So the quality of the abandonment here is more plastic and also more artificial because it looks like it's abandoned, it's messy, it's very dusty as well, but you can feel the presence of the unauthenticness because of the graffiti on the walls. And also this is where most of the graffiti event will take place. Okay. and there is no sign of life. You don't see animals running around. You don't see plants. And the second side is where things is more authentic and also, in my opinion, more interesting because you can see there is tree branches growing up into the space from outside. So you can feel like there is a sense of like survival instinct that plays in front of your eyes. So there are signs of life, which is trees, stray cats, and also homeless people would stay more in this space. Okay, I feel like because it is more undisturbed, it's not disturbed in terms of the abandonment quality. It's more intrinsic quality of the abandonment space. All right, you can see in the picture here, there's also like people would hang their clothes over there. They will wash their clothes. They will stop the motorcycle here, right? So this is all everything that we see and what we map in terms of the psychogeographic mapping. So psychogeographic mapping is also like it doesn't just map the physical space, it also maps of what is happening psychologically and what you're experiencing in terms of the sound, the space, and also like visually. Okay, and then some of my group mates say um, it brings them back to the memory where they one of them were like homeless, one of them experienced homeless. So that is also like part of the psychological um, reaction of the whole mapping. Okay, you have to talk about your senses as well, other than just the physical experience. Okay, moving on. Right, so this is another phase of myself, which is where I explore the idea of liminality in my project. So here there are two integral elements, which I also stated in the title. One is sound, and one is the dead corals, which is the found matter in this case. So I use sound as a medium to capture the multifaceted diverse soundscape of Langkawi. So here it means that the soundscape in Langkawi is less noisy and also less layered. So in this sense, it's like you hear the sound more clearly and also like it provides you this clarity of senses. Okay, and also like the other thing is I use sound as a medium to illustrate the liminality of human intervention on site as well as on the island. So here it means human intuition can be seen as the role to foster or nurture, or in contradiction, it can be to disrupt or destroy the environment. Okay, sound is the medium that I'm using to show the differences between the human intervention and their effects. And also the last one is to impose the quality of life on the static object. So the static object here is the dead corals that are found on the shore. Alright. And the next one is the dead corals. Okay, these are matters that I found on the island. And to my own understanding is it is dead corals that are washed ashore, which no one actually noticed them. And I use them for to metaphorically to represent the state of humanity of Langkawi, of the quality of being forgotten, but also simultaneously flourishes as a tourist attraction. And in my work, I use it as an interface or a conduit to reimagine the relations between human and nature. Okay, and the next part of the making is the interaction part. So I use tactile interaction and proximity sensing. So these two are the main technical part of the work. Okay, and then this is to illustrate the presence of human intervention in the exhibition space. And this is what the soundscape will react. Okay, this is the interaction, and this is where the soundscape will show the effects of human interaction. Okay, it will change accordingly when visitor enter the space, or it will change when the visitor touches the surface of the corals. So this is my interaction flow. I have a pre-programmed patch in Pure Data, and the first goal is when visitors enter the space, the sensor will detect the range of the distance, and it will change the soundscape. The second flow is when they touch the big corals. Where's this? Okay, this is not range of distance, but more like capacitive sensing is like it just I don't know how to explain. It just bridges the circuit. Okay, in this way, it's a conductive material that close the circuit, and then it will also like affect the soundscape. Okay, here are some of the pictures, and this is the exhibition space, and this is where people come in during exhibition, and they are invited to touch the corals, and this is the exhibition space without people in. Okay, so and I have a video of the exhibition. Oh, experimentation. And okay, so this is a short note of my after talk. So basically, it's capturing my experience in Langkawi. So with fewer layers of environmental noise, Langkawi provided a perceptual clarity that allowed me to approach my work differently. Immersing myself in the environment encouraged a sense of curiosity toward unnoticed transient moments and inspired new ways of thinking about the relationship between human and non-human entities. This was reflected in my residency project, Tangible Resonance, where I explore liminality through themes of anthropogenic impact, depth, and found objects. Okay, so that's all.
So, so just to ask, like, how long was the residency for?
How long was the residency?
Yeah,
From the first phase.
yeah.
So first phase was 2 weeks, which we we were there for field research, and then what happened in between was like during October we would go back to our studio and brainstorm ideas and also come up with a proposal. And then we will be back in Langkawi during November to install our work and also like to test out the technical parts of the work.
So, do you think there is space for this type of art, the urban environments to share or like specific way of playing that either? Do you think there's more art in music or is it relevant sort of art form for or within the urban setting in architecture? Plan that either.
It can be repurposed, but maybe hmm, I mean in terms of the sound art as well, it's like it depends on the approach that you're taking. So my approach is more like experimental. That's why we have this field trip to experience. So my approach is more like open and also like experimental, which I don't really have any expectations on what the output would be.
It's like your project it's in a way it's like a new way of partnering experience.
Experience.
Yeah. You can
Mhm.
like relate
With
that
the
sort of like
yes.
your strategies from the situation is like psychogeography. It's a sort of modern, I think, not occult, but like sort of like picking science, but also going back to the mystical, not forgetting that part as well. So that's why I find your project quite interesting in that sense. It's using sound to infer the scene, so that sort of in a way you see it in like your mind, right? So like, do you think this sort of work will sort of um, create any like, impact into how people empathize with the non-human?
Uh, I think I think yes, and also like maybe no, because I think yes because it's like relevant in the local context, but no because like it's still a found object and you call it an object, it doesn't have any life in it. It's more like we are imposing some kind of the liveliness in it.
Yeah. So we open now the floor for questions. Uh, so anyone on the floor that wants to throw a curveball at Iki, you are welcome. So anyone can just you can just throw your questions anytime. It's still not normal even doing
Anything not wrong, like paranormal.
yeah.
No, everything is fine.
Oh, disappointment.
Those stories was fine. Like we even went to the place during midnight because one of my peers want to film something. Yeah, but nothing abnormal. Everything's at once.
So what happens to the work after it's done? How do you bring that? Do you even bring that back, or do you leave it in the hospital with the sand and everything?
I did bring some corals back, but yeah, we left without tidying up the space.
I see.
All of us just leave our work there. Like it's part of the space now.
Mm.
So was the building you guys sourced it yourself or was it part of this?
It was given by the residency. And I think they have this project they will demolish it after 2 years or things like that.
Mm. So the brief was basically to create space, sorry, to create site-specific artworks in the hospital.
Yeah.
Was that so that brief was pretty straightforward, like it wasn't like just create an artwork for whatever about Langkawi. It just has to be in that hospital. Do you get a chance to choose which rooms, or it's just like
Yeah, we get to choose which.
okay, it's more like a commission work to do site specific work for that for the hospital lah. Mm. So how do you find the conditions about working there? I'm sure electricity, heat.
Yeah, the room that I got was, I mean, it's not just the room, it's like the whole space was pretty humid.
Yeah.
And we have to, and then we have to take care of our equipment because the window will splash some rain in it.
Oh, yeah,
So
it's
we have to like,
exposed.
yeah, we have to like waterproof my things there.
Okay.
And also like when we were testing, we had problems with the generator because they don't have the electricity by
Oh, so everything's generator. So the power is not stable lah.
sometimes but on exhibition day was quite okay.
That's also challenging, right? To do very technical works in abandoned spaces. And how much that actually affects your outcome. Mm.
We use the genset.
Mm.
So how he was work was like all day and night working.
I actually work in the space really late because they don't have electricity, so I work mostly in my room or in the gallery. So then we can shift it to the space and we test this. My work is technical and also like others, like there are two more. One is by steam poiling and one is by uh, showing. So they also play a lot of sounds and speakers and things. So we are on the same boat of like getting to the space. We are the latecomers because we don't have the electricity supply.
Hmm. How long was the exhibition ran for? Was it day and night or was it just
Yeah, day and night. It closes at 10 p.m.
10 to 10? Is it?
Yeah.
So that during that time there were people, there were gallery sitters or
There weren't any galleries because there are security guards.
yeah. Actually, I remember when I went to this work, uh, it was I wasn't sure, was I supposed to step on it? Was I supposed to, was it something I just looked from afar? I think that having somebody explain would really, I don't know. Because it was like a room, and I wasn't sure whether I can even go in because I saw the sand. I was like, oh, should I? Boleh masuk ke ni kan? Macam makan pijak work kurang kan?
Some people would say it sounded very scary,
Sounded.
sounded very eerie, and
Oh.
they don't dare to go into the space.
I thought visually it looked very nice and very interesting, but I wasn't sure whether I was allowed to step in, because it can visual because like I said, visually it looks already quite beautiful. So it's not something I wanna like accidentally step in. Yeah.
Where'd you get the set?
Oh, they got it's not. It's like a construction set, which give the room more humidity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it traps the water, traps the moisture in the center. What do you?
Does humidity affect us a bit? Does it affect?
Really?
No.
When you say that you like want to lead farmers and then you got this room for you to your out, right? Like is it late farmer? Is it become like people already said it's their hour and they say
Yeah.
this is your room, do what you want
No,
with it.
we already, I was assigned the room for that. But yeah, we use like the technical stuff like speakers and those like we have to test it very late, like very near the exhibition date.
Oh, so basically the room assignation is depending on the idea that you got.
Yes.
Mm. Because you tested very late because the gen set only arrived late, is it? Or what?
Uh yes, and also like it's not stable.
Sure, it's like a stop.
It's technical, a lot of technical
It's just
issues,
the
challenges.
it's because it's just like Arduino, so it's not that extensive power usage. My friend's one, she I think they use Arduino as well, but they are driving like the fan, driving fan for the fog machine itself. So that one takes more power. That one is more difficult. My one the power was okay. It wasn't like yeah, it's sufficient for my work.
Mhm.
So what was the TV for?
It's just to showcase a visual that I did. Yeah,
What was recorded with the sounds?
it's not. It's just a loop, like a loop visual that I did.
Is it related to your concern? Oh,
Yeah, it is.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm wondering something. This one is not in terms of technical, it's more like your approach to uh, bringing up the liminality or something. It's just I'm trying to think of like how do you manifest liminality inside like this work itself lah. Because for me, liminality is the boundary between the intersection of human consciousness and natural order. So I'm wondering what is your approach? Because the concept of liminality itself is kind of nebulous right now. So I'm trying to find what do you define as like liminal in your work right now.
Kind of what?
It's more like how do you describe liminality? Like
Oh,
the short of it, how do you describe liminality? Yes.
so I kind of contextualize it as like my own experience of this difference of my reality of Langkawi as well as when I'm experiencing myself, and also the way that I perceive the difference between the space because when during our field trip we go to experience Langkawi as tourists, but when we come back to this space it feels like very different. So and also like my understanding on the hospital as a uh, presentation of the liminality of the whole island because um, it's just a very con it's just a very stark contrast between what is being portrayed and what is being experienced. And also in my work, uh, I think the quality of being liminal is more like you are acknowledging something that is non-human, something that is like abandoned or forgotten in this case, which is the things that I found in China itself. Yeah, like also a lot of things which is related to my own perception of the island. Because we when we experience the island, it's like we will hear a lot of things and also like we see a lot of things, but then all these corals and dead corals, we need to like drop your consciousness or like your perception a little bit lower to like see them. You need to like see them actively or because you don't actively see them, but it's like you have to become become like a non-human as well to actually perceive them. Okay.
No pressure. Pressure. Okay. I've seen the word, so yeah, I've seen it. It's been presented. So the electric current. Yeah, something. Yeah, something. Yes, something.
Yes.
Hmm.
You may consider, uh, yes.
Okay, fantastic. And then, is in your slide, you also say that overall the thing is kind of interface of all function to manage relationship between human and interested in this in the sense that knowledge function relationship between human and human. What kind of relationships can be reimagined or what kind of relationship do you think what especially when it being specific assets. And I find it interesting that you noted that the salary from the productivity actually regretted that experience of listening. Okay, so how does that play a part in the possibility of imagining relationship, contact relationship? Is it a relationship that you are never seen or you are letting that go and let me always figure out the other relationship with objects, subjects, with non-human agents, presence. Just curious how you acknowledge point together the medium, the sound of the medium, the object that you use as an interface, and the sound of experience as kind of internal perception. What would be the possible relationship that you want to develop?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so about the relation, I think I specifically use haptic, like you have to touch it. It is like highlighting uh what human can do as someone who can make changes to the environment. So because um my thinking here is that when we go to a space or like a tourist or when you're new to a space, there are things that are very interesting to you. And like for example, when you see plants or rocks that you never see before, the first instinct is that you would touch it or like you would approach it first. So this is like what I'm thinking is like a human intervention in this case. So this imagining relation is more like a general thing in which like we are thinking about what we can do as human, as artists, and also as tourists. And how is it relevant in this case is because Langkawi is also like a, s- a space for tourists and how they always like promote it as a space for um, to align with the tourism goals and things like that. And so like pair with this idea of liminality and also like human to non-human relation is in a more general way. It's just like highlighting what a human can do to an environment. Yeah. I have like a really
I have one like really dumb question. Okay. Okay, because I'm not really so I'm not really smart. What's this term non-human? Why do you use this term non-human rather than something being unanimated, dead? Well, I mean, no, I guess that would not make sense. But yeah, why do you use this? What's this fascination with this non-human human? Because because as a human, I can only fathom human experiences. How do I? So can you explain to me that terminology? Because yeah. Oh, why is it being used? I really do not know. I'm not trying to be smart. I really do not know.
Well,
Yeah.
think in like I use this word since like I was reading my thesis like way back. Um, in a non-critical way, it's like just non-human. It's like
Objects.
yeah, other than humans, like objects, plants, and
Green.
yeah,
Okay, everything that's not human.
yeah,
Okay, it's my bag. So
yeah, yeah.
okay, cool, cool, cool.
But
Then
in this work is like if it seems to me it's like a piece of the ground, like a piece that I pick up from Langkawi
huh?
because I mean if given the chance I would use like more significant objects that represent Langkawi like because when we were in Langkawi we are also like fascinated with the geographic formation like what Machinchan formation, whatever, like a lot of like scientific terms. But then here is like I'm trying to represent something that we pick up from the space, pick up from the earth. So I use non-human in a way is like something that is not always perceived by human, and also like something that is always being stepped on like um yeah, like a piece of the ground. Piece of the yeah, like a piece of the earth something from Mongolia.
Oh, so you mean piece of the ground is metaphorical or explicit, like dirt, or if
Metaphorically, yeah.
so that is the relationship that you're looking at, that connection between yourself and that hypothetical piece. Mm. Okay, okay, right. I think I'm starting to see the light. I see. So that's your fascination with that liminal we're talking
Yeah.
about, that gap.
The
Okay. Because because it's true. I've heard about non-human. I've heard it used many times, but I've never really. I'm just very curious. How do you use that terminology, human? Because it seems to describe a lot of. It's like me as a human and the other.
yeah,
Like yeah, it's like you are othering, you are othering, but they're not people, they're objects. So that's also like, oh, okay. And why don't you just call them objects? Why do you have to call them non-human? It still goes back to that human consciousness. So things that don't have consciousness. I don't know. Just thinking out loud.
Yeah, we can discuss that in the session. It's a good idea.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I also have these questions. Probably it's sort of new concept of an othering.
Yeah, it's an othering nothing.
Yeah, but see it differently. I mean,
Yeah, but
you're not othering something else, but you're accepting them as a separate object, and there's something that cannot have human consciousness. Maybe on a post-human level, that's how you sort of see it. So seeing an other in a different way than maybe previously thought possible.
maybe it's an othering, but from
Yeah, it's like
from a
trying to
technical
evolve
thing.
that. Yeah, it's trying to evolve it, become more conscious.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay. So, any more questions from online, the floor? Just a bit of comment. I just want to give a bit of context. So, uh, number one, this is not the original state of the site.
Yeah.
This has been prepped up so that it would accommodate the work. That's why. So, although it's abandoned, but it's not abandoned in a sense. It has been repurposed. The abandoned site has been repurposed so that it would accommodate the work. That's one, just to add a bit of context. Number two, thinking about your definition, right? You go back to the first slide and the first minute. Oh no, your afterthought. Right? First slide. How did you define it? Here, yeah, this one. I think this is very useful, right? Talking about the disjuncture between the presumed image of Langkawi, so tourist versus the experience. So again, a bit of context. I did join with them to some of the activities, and one of the thing that became obvious as tourists is how land is cultivated. So it's been transformed so that it would cater to this. It allows access to certain places, and then we have vehicles to bring us around. We get on the boat to go into places that would not be possible as humans. So all these are land that has been modified and catered so it would fit the pleasures of our viewing as tourists. We get to go and see against the land as it is. The land as it is resistance towards our entry to that space. I cannot go into the jungle. I have to fight, cut through, penetrate, or intervene, whatever. So that's what I was thinking about when you made your personal sentiment, which I think is very true in terms of what we experience. The waterfall and all the overall experience, the sort of things that we were doing, versus how the nature was around us and how it was resisting and how it has been cultivated so that it would accommodate human. That kind of a thing. So I'm just drawing the parallel between that and the site as an abandonment and how that has been repurposed to accommodate artists.
So it's not true abandonment lah.
For me, it's not much.
It's mediated, curated abandonment.
Well,
It's kind of look like abandoned, yeah.
well, that's sort of, I say that it has been repurposed.
Yeah, so they added the plywood, everything,
Yeah.
right? And they put in the lights and
Yeah.
yeah.
So that is something not specific to your work, but just thinking about what it means when the work goes into the site. That idea, like this group of artists going into the site, and I was there. The problem is I saw it before.
Yeah,
So-
we all saw it
Yeah.
before.
So that image has stayed my idea. Like I seen it before, who was there, how it was, and then when I came after, I saw it again and slowly transformed.
Cleaned
For
up.
that time.
Dibersihkan.
So I think that's an important point to make, and also an important consideration to be thought when you think about site specific, right? Are you really specific to the site, or are you adopting the site to the specificity of the work you're going to do? Instead of arguing.
So the abandonment is an aesthetic. Ke?
Well, I don't know. Abandonment could be aesthetics. Abandonment could be a backdrop. Abandonment could be a wallpaper to what you want to put in front. I don't know how the abandonment plays into the exhibition. That's a bigger question that the curatorial and the management have to argue. Lah. But the question I'm bringing up here is I would assume it's already in the consciousness of the artist and he as well doing the work because they're already talking about these issues indirectly, but not exactly addressing it in the work per se, I would say. I don't know. That's how I feel only. But it's there already. Like you're already thinking about it, or you're already participating in this idea of repurposing. You're going there, you're wanting the space to be changing, wanting power to do some things that related to your work, and the place originally does not have power. Sort of things are already getting place. Yeah, so that's just a comment I have. Thank you. Okay, so thank you, Rich. You for that. That's the comments. I think, yeah, I think we should always look at the things as well, so beyond our own, say, lens of perspective, which then will sort of create what we need. This sort of is force of conversation, so to create more knowledge in depth, you know, on how we perceive the world and how perceptions can affect the world. Right. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Nikki, for coming into sharing the work and so ideas on the idea of human and non-human and how she sort of works within that realm. Yeah, and thank you everyone for participating and attending today's session. So we have another session lined up with Mr. Eddie Wong, which is an AI artist working with AI in sort of creating collective memory on the topics and also touching on futurism. So it'll be at the same time next week. So I hope that everyone can today here can also join for the next session. Right. So thank you again, Iki, for that brilliant talk. And thank you everyone for taking the time to come today. All right. So signing off here. See you guys in the next.